This is a city not of socialism.
No.
I've been to socialist countries. This is a city where you could come as a dishwasher and you can own a chain of restaurants.
These are directly from their charter. Defund the police, cut budgets annually towards zero. Obviously, these are dramatic proposals that are reckless and they are dangerous.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. As you just heard, candidates in the race for mayor have been targeting Zohran Mamdani's ties to the New York City Democratic Socialists of America. Mamdani's rivals have drawn attention to his support for decriminalizing sex work or creating government-run grocery stores and, of course, freezing the rent. But just how much of Mamdani's platform is based on the DSA's charter or goals? Here to talk more about this is a special panel. Gustavo Gordillo is the co-chair of the New York City DSA. Batul Hassan is a steering committee member at the DSA and serves as the labor director at the Climate and Community Institute. Welcome to the program. Good to see you. You don't look very dangerous to me, but let's get into it. The National DSA's website describes democratic socialism as, quote, a system where ordinary people have a real voice in our workplaces, neighborhoods, and society. What would that look like in New York City?
I think in New York City, it would start with something like the agenda that Zohran ran for mayor on. We're seeing that in New York City, working class people are increasingly struggling to make a living. It doesn't feel like a city where working class people are free to pursue their dreams, to pursue even making a decent livelihood. And democratic socialism is about empowering ordinary working class people. That's been at the root of Zohran's agenda. It's why we chose to run on a platform of affordability, because this is the central crisis facing normal people in the city, which has become a playground for the rich.
So now, to the extent that there are institutions that are out there, as imperfect as they may be, there are political clubs, there's labor unions, there's community organizations of many kinds that are out there. What's been missing? What is the DSA adding that you think is missing from the scene here in New York?
Yeah, well, if you come to a DSA meeting, which everyone is welcome to do, you'll see that it's composed of New Yorkers from all kinds of backgrounds, all walks of life, all neighborhoods in the city, who share a goal of building a better world, and that happens in many different ways. I first joined DSA 8 years ago because I was trying to figure out how to organize a workplace in my union, and I went to DSA to learn the skills and gain the tools and build the relationships to make that happen. So I think that DSA gives people a place to take their hopes and their dreams and to start thinking strategically and building strategically, including through campaigns, some of which are electoral, as we saw with the mayor's race, some of which are legislative or labor campaigns or otherwise. But it gives working class people a place to actually enact the world that they want to see.
Okay, and now I saw a notice that you recently passed 10,000 in membership for the New York City chapter. Is that about right? Is that?
We're nearing 11,000 at this point, and we think we'll probably double our membership from what it was when we first launched the mayoral campaign.
So now, what would you say to a dyed-in-the-wool working-class Democrat who says, why don't you create your own party line? Why do it this way? Why go into somebody else's organization, meaning the Democratic Party, and try and insert your values instead of building out your own party?
I think what we're seeing currently is a third of the people in this country do not support the direction that it's going in. And it's not just the Republicans who are to blame for that. Of course, Trump is leading an assault on the working class, but the Democrats as well, through their failure of leadership, are the ones who allowed Trump to rise in the first place. Our commitments are to the working class, and working class priorities, they're about wages, they're about how can I stay living in my apartment, how can I get to work, how can I pay for childcare so that my kids can grow up in the city and I don't have to to move into the suburbs. The party line question, that's not really something that ordinary working class people are debating day to day. We go to where mass interest is And we fight for campaigns that we think are going to appeal to a broad swath of New Yorkers. We welcome allies from all walks of life, and Democrats often do ally with us.
Well, let me ask, strategically, I saw an analysis that the Mamdani campaign targeted Muslim and South Asian neighborhoods. We've done some reporting on that and some analysis, but also communities with a high percentage of renters, resulting in him winning 8 out of 10 districts that had the largest number of rental units in the city. That's where the freeze the rent appeal, I think, really sort of took off. Is that going to be the path to victory in the general election as well, do you think?
I mean, the rent freeze demand was hugely popular. We're in a majority renter city, and hundreds of thousands of people are being priced out of their apartments right now, while landlords see profits going into the double digits. So yeah, I think that rent freeze is a really important demand when people are thinking about what they need to remain in the city and to be able to live a dignified life in this city. I think the rent freeze demand is also a great one that clearly mobilized hundreds of thousands of people to support Zohran's platform because it's also actionable. We have a unique rent guidelines board system here in New York City where people know that the mayor can freeze the rent, and that's something that they have had their expectations raised to expect from Zohran.
And what happens, I mean, membership in the National DSA and residency in New York City are required to be a member of your organization, is that right? So is it fair to ask Zohran or any of you or any member, do you subscribe to the national group's principles or their platform, the things that they've put on their website? That's a fair question, right?
I think that we're about what we do just as much as we're about what we say. And we've committed to Zohran's mayoral campaign. In the past, some of our priority campaigns have been around taxing the rich, which we've done successfully in New York State. We've passed climate law legislation to build renewable energy with union labor. We've passed increased tenant rights.
And by that you mean members of, say, the State Assembly and the State Senate who are DSA members.
Exactly, but together with our organization, our own members are out on the streets knocking doors to talk to people about these demands. Those are the priorities that we lead with. That's where we put our organizational capacity into. And that's what we're promising with Zohran mayoralty.
But you're not asking us to ignore some of what I would call showstoppers. I go and look at the national program and I'm like, whoa, end U.S. military aid to all governments, support normalization of relations with Cuba, Iran, and Venezuela, close all U.S. foreign military bases. I think of those as like sort of showstoppers. Like that's, something where it's like, well, do you believe it or do you not believe it? Just because you're not pushing for it this year or this season, should I associate you with this? Is this something that ultimately you want to see happen?
The national organization is decentralized. We're a complex org, just like unions are. The New York City DSA makes its own commitments, but democratically, our members vote on what we're going to campaign for. And that's how we're going to proceed.
I'm thinking, especially in the business and political leadership in New York, the ones who are freaked out by the rise of Mamdani or who are concerned about your organization, are they in a way sort of doing you paying you the compliment of taking you seriously?
Well, it's not just a compliment. I think it's real. I also think that we're proud of a lot of our endorsed electeds, for example, who have been a presence in New York State politics since 2018. And I think that a lot of New Yorkers know what we're about because they see us. They see our electeds, like my state senator is a DSA endorsed member of the organization, Jabari Brisport, our city council people. They see what it means to be a socialist elected. And fundamentally what that means is standing on the sides of the workers against the billionaire class and against this version of a city that's turning into a playground for the rich, while so many people can't afford to pay their rent, can't afford to buy their groceries, can't afford to raise their kids in this city. So that's fundamentally our position that we take. Okay,
we're going to wish you the best of luck. We'll see you out on the campaign trail. They'll continue to kick your name around. If you think it's being used wrongly, please contact us. We'll, sort of try and keep this conversation going. Thanks so much for coming by.
Thank you.